Okay, two grandmas and a microphone, number 4. It's been
Hey,
a month.
number 4.
Yeah. Um, and, sorry. Okay. So first, I want to just tell people that we've been doing this. Vicky is a grandma, but you've also been a nurse.
Yes.
She has credentials, okay? She's been a nurse and also a psychotherapist.
Yes.
So I don't know if that makes what comes out of your mouth more important or not, but she has credentials. I could show you how to do a good burpee, whatever. So, but today we wanted to talk about a little bit about fitness and health and well-being, because during this time we have these great conversations before we even start the video. But we were talking about just the focus has not been on our health and wellness during this pandemic, and that's what the focus needs to be on.
Sure.
So I want you to talk all right, go ahead. You talk about your ovaries. Let's just go right to it.
I don't know if anyone wants to hear about my ovaries, but
okay. And healing yourself and taking care of yourself, that's the point of all this. But go ahead.
Right, the ovaries, the seat of creativity.
Did you hear that? The seat of creativity.
Back in the 80s, I was diagnosed with an ovarian cyst that was so large, the doctor was sure he was going to have to do surgery. I said in my head, no way, I am not having surgery. And I happened to be involved in a spiritual group called the Course in Miracles at the time, and it was a new group for me. And they were so cool. They were so involved in all these different healings and different ways of recovering or health. And I was very curious, especially with my nursing background, about all of this. And it made a lot of sense to me, body, mind, and spirit, and the connection of body, mind, and spirit. So when the doctor said, you're going to have surgery, and I said, no way, I'm finding another way, I utilized the people in this group to find out ideas. And I researched, I spoke with people I knew. I was introduced to Louise Hay, who herself had healed from vaginal cancer stage.
Ovarian cancer.
Ovarian cancer?
Yeah.
I thought it was cervical.
No, it was ovarian.
It was in that area.
And this was in the 1920s.
Oh, was it that far back? Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought she was in her 40s and then lived to her 80s. But
She
whatever.
whatever.
She wrote a lot of books. She started a movement
Of
with
healing
healing and
yourself.
healing yourself. So I got connected to her. So for those, I had 2 weeks, for some reason, there was 2 weeks before I was going to have an ultrasound, and I can't remember why back then, but it took a while. But I changed my diet. I eliminated pork and beef. Somehow I just did that intuitively. I meditated every day with guided imagery, sending light and healing to my ovaries. But the biggest thing too was listening to a friend of mine on the phone tell me about Louise Hay, and she had a chart that would connect your physical illness or symptoms with your emotional and your metaphysical reasons. Right. And in it, as soon as she said you're blocked in your area of creativity, so it could be like problems in your job, in your marriage, well, both were extremely accurate. I felt very stuck in my marriage and in my job at the time. I hated my job that I was doing at that time. It was the only job I ever hated. And it wasn't the job itself, it was all the things I had to deal with that were ancillary to my job that were very difficult. But I thought I was just had to stay there, stuck. So when you're stuck, you're going to have a cyst develop somewhere, and in this case, it was my ovary. So I knew that somewhere, something shifted when she said that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's true. So I then went for my first spiritual healing, and at the time, it was called Marielle. I didn't even hear of Reiki at the time. I was so scared. I went to this woman's house, and I thought, I don't know if I'm entering something good or bad or evil, but I was reassured because she had these pictures of Mary and angels, and I felt calmer. And when she did the Marielle, she put her hands on the top of my head, and all of a sudden I felt this heat just like flowing through my body, like as if a ripple or a wave was going through. It was a very cool experience. So after 2 weeks of doing these things on a daily basis and using my affirmations and all, I went for an ultrasound, and it was good. It happened to be Good Friday, so this was kind of interesting. And by Easter Sunday, I told my husband then, named Pat, his name is Pat, that I knew I was fine, that the cyst has gone away. And he's like, how do you know that? I just know it. I just felt it inside myself. So the doctor called me on Monday after Easter and was stuttering. It was like, I don't know what to say, but it's gone. because he had really was emphatic about how big it was, almost the size of an orange, and you're gonna have to have this surgery. So
It was the size of an orange?
yes.
Wow.
So at the time, I didn't want to tell him. I was too afraid he'd say I was crazy.
Jesus cured you.
I know, like I can't tell him what I did. I'm like, oh well, these things happen. Is how I responded. And the whole time I'm smiling from ear to ear on the other side of the phone. I didn't tell people that I did that, and those things happened. But it really solidified my idea of body, mind, and spirit being connected, and how important it all is. So it's not even funny. I never had another ovarian cyst again, and at that point in my life, it was probably my third one that was serious. I had had previous cyst in my ovary at 19 and 20. Actually, my cyst ruptured one point with a cyst, and another time, I don't know what happened with it, but I know I had twice. I had surgery twice too. One was exploratory, and one was to remove part of my ovary. So after my experience at the age of 35, I never had another cyst on my ovary again. So.
And you said you got a different, within 6 months.
Yes, I'm sorry. Within 6 months, I had a different job that I lost. I never had another job that I hated again in my life because I knew the power of that. And I got out of my marriage. And that was never to be regretted ever. Yeah, on every level. So health on mind, body, and spirit connection. I think sometimes we're missing all those pieces. Yeah.
And just realizing your own power.
Your own power.
And healing yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's hard because these doctors are telling you one thing, and you think, I'm going to have surgery. And you're like, nope, I'm going to figure this out.
I already had 2 surgeries on ovaries. I thought, no, this is not the answer. There's a different answer. Something's happening within me. And I had done enough work within myself to know that. Like, I had gotten to that place of understanding that I'm in charge here.
Right.
Yeah, of what's happening within my body, you know. And everything, like you said, if we do everything we can, I'm not against medical procedures, or I'm not at all. Yet at times, I think our body is speaking to us, especially in situations that are so emotionally exhausting for us.
Right.
I think our body's speaking.
Right. All right, now talk here. Just got your pubic symphysis.
Oh my goodness. So the focus is we're trying to say that we have some power in our health, right? And that sometimes the answers come not just from doctors, but from other sources if we're paying attention.
Right.
So I injured myself exercising, and I didn't know what I could do because I wasn't getting rid of the discomfort. The pain was pretty bad sometimes, so I had to stop. I was doing daily walking, 4 to 6 miles a day. I had to stop that, but it took me a while because I was really fighting it to stop. And when I stopped, and I was going to physical therapy, and they were great. They were helping me to, work with my core and stabilize my pelvis, which was great, and I'm still working with it. But it wasn't getting rid of the discomfort, which was so discouraging, and I was really upset about it.
And they told you it might be something you're going to live with
And
the rest of your
I said,
life.
no way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when the doctor said, you may have to have this for life, in my head, I'm like, no way. I think I said it to him, no way. I know myself better than that. That's not going to be acceptable, So don't you know, a week or 2 later, I get a couple phone calls from people. It doesn't matter who they are. One was a chiropractor that I hardly even knew. Somebody else had done massages, and they both told me the same thing about putting pressure on trigger points. When I started to do that, the next day, the discomfort was like 90% better, 80% to 90%. Now it's like 95% gone, and I'm back to walking.
And if it starts to flare up again,
I know what to do.
You know what to do.
I use the pressure point idea, acupressure on those trigger points has been miraculous. So, again, it goes to show that we need to be open, I think, to where the answers will come for, healing, wellness, getting better. So I am. Open. Yes.
All right, I'll tell my quick story too. Like, I've had back issues all my adult life. I was a competitive runner, always, impact, and my back was hurting most of the time, and I'd be walking around with ice packs on my low back, and I just kept going because I was 25, and you just keep going, right? But in my 60s, like maybe 5 years ago, 3-4 years ago, I don't know, you lose track of time, but I hurt my SI joint doing who knows what, and I had pain down my leg, I had numbness. I went to the doctor, they give you muscle relaxants, and I went to see my chiropractor, And he's like, Mary, how old are you? You know, what are you doing?
That's what they like to say.
You know, you shouldn't be doing mountain climbers and burpees. You know, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, why don't you go join? He wanted me to go swim. And I'm like, you know, same thing. I don't, no.
Yeah.
And then my husband found this chiropractor, that new foundation training, and it was, you know, life-giving because it's, you know, I went to see Phil and he worked on me, but he also gave me the exercises to strengthen my back. The foundation training is designed to strengthen your back, elongate your back, so you take care of yourself. And now it's the same thing. I know when I've overdone, and so I do a little bit more foundation training, and I have foundation training in every single one of my outdoor fit classes. It has just saved me, and I'm doing mountain climbers and burpees, and
Interesting.
you know, and,
Wow.
and you keep going, and you
I
keep
love that.
going, because, and I know how to take care of myself, you know.
I don't want to fall for that mindset that says I'm a certain age,
Yeah.
so now I'm gonna, you know, be looked at, and not for anything. I mean, if I'm okay with, like I said, you know, there is definitely room for. I appreciate doctors. I appreciate their suggestions, but sometimes I don't think they connect the body, mind, and spirit as so much. You know, it's more like what they know rather than looking at each person as an individual.
Right.
So I'm not that person. And you sent me a podcast this week, and I loved when he talked about he learned so much about medicine by listening to each person.
Zach
And if
Bush,
you-
Mark Hyman.
Yes, it was
more of
great.
my boyfriends.
Yes, it was a great podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful
so
podcast.
Good.
So much in it, so valuable. So I think that piece about each doctor needs to look at us as individuals. We're not in these categories, you know. And if they do, there's a wealth of information about our healing and how we get better.
And what an amazing doctor that person is, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what an amazing doctor.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I've switched my doctors to a doctor like that. I'm not going to advertise him, but
I know that
it,
doctor.
it makes such a difference. My last visit with him, I had a visit I never had with anyone. And he really did get into my mind and my spirit, in addition to the blood work in front of him. He saw me as a whole person, and I was so touched by that.
Right.
Wouldn't that be a novel idea for wellness
Right.
in the future, right?
Yeah. Well,
I really
it's who knows what's going to happen.
No, but I hope so. I mean, I see that happening. And it was Zach Bush who said, if you listen to people and their stories, you'll be able to see how they got to where they are with their health or non-health, right?
Right.
With their health issues.
Right.
And I think that's true.
Yeah.
We carry with us a lot in our minds, yeah, and our spirit. So that
Yeah.
reflects in our health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
This is very cool, Mary. Thank you for spreading this.
And I don't feel like this is long enough, or should we keep
I
going?
think so. How long was it?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it felt like it was a while. I
All right,
don't know.
I think we had more to talk about today, but we'll save it for next week because enough for one day.
This seems like a good topic,
Yeah.
right? Health
So-
and wellness.
You know, and during this time, I always take a lot of supplements and eat well, but I up my vitamin C, I up zinc, that your vitamin D level is super important for your immune system, and so it's so important to eat well, eat the organic food. I went to the farmer's market this morning. Zach Bush talked about that too. Everything's going to have to
Yes.
shift.
Yeah.
You know, you have to support your local farmers and do all the things you need to do.
And the one thing that I do want to mention from that podcast that we were just talking about a little while ago is we really need our policies to be connected with our health, right? So especially when we're talking about EPA, like it doesn't make any sense that they're not connected. Like what's good for our health and good for the environment go hand in hand, and they need to be partners, like really living
Right.
good partners. And right now it doesn't look like that's happening according to the podcast, which is very sad.
Right.
But we all need to fight for that. We need to work together for our health.
Exactly. And so you don't give up because if one person is president or not, you know, we still
Right.
have grassroots, let's go.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
we'll do what we can do.
Yeah,
So anyway,
makes a difference.
it makes a difference. So go out and vote. All right. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Take care.